Hi everybody, it's Mr. Stewart here with your assignment video for week 7 for the animation course level 1, specifically for Maya. So this will be the lip sync assignment, which is really fun, so let's get started. Okay, so here we go, let's get started. So I have my Maya session open and I am ready to go. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the email, and the email that I get is going to look something like this, and it's going to have the assignment video section here, and it's going to have the link to this assignment video, but right underneath it is going to be this link to the mouse face rig. Now this is actually a cat whose name is Mouse, and that's based on a cat my daughter had who she named her cat Mouse. So it's a little confusing, but once you get used to it, you don't even think about it. So when you have this, I'm going to click on this, and if I can control click, there we go. And that is going to bring you to a page that looks something like this. Might look a little bit different in the drive, and in here, this is the mouseface.ma. This is the Maya file, so you'll download this. And you'll also download, if you want, the textures. And I'm going to show you how to put the textures on. But this is going to be a folder full of textures. It's going to take a little while to zip the download, zip the folder, and then it will download the folders. Now, or the textures inside. Now you're going to have to, and here we go. You'll have to kind of go inside of the folders. You'll have to be able to unzip it. Usually that's not too difficult. You can usually right click on this and say extract files, and once you've done that, then you'll have access to those files. Okay, and then I want to save that rig somewhere, that Maya file somewhere where I know where it is, and I've made a folder here called Good Luck, which is going to be the line that I'm going to animate. And inside I have my mouse face rig. Now I want to open this up, but when I do, I want to make sure that I almost immediately save a new file for my animation, because I want to keep this rig completely clean in case I want to use it for something else, or in case I have a crash and I lose some work. I want to have a clean rig to go back to. So let me open up the file here and find this. Now when it opens up, it should look something like this, and you'll see there's colors on the face, and there's tons and tons of these controls all over the place. There's also lights that are kind of shining and highlighted on the on Mouse's face. Now I'm going to go through a few things here. When I take off the textures, you'll see that everything kind of goes white like this. So I want to make sure I keep this button on. I can take this off, and this turns off the lights that are inside the file. Now this might make it go a little bit faster. It also might make it a little more stable depending on your graphics card, but you'll lose a lot of the shininess and a lot of the different highlights that you can see on the rig. Now if I want to load the textures, because this isn't actually the textures that are on the rig yet. If I want to do that, I need to go to Windows, Rendering Editors, and Hypershade. And when I see in Hypershade, I should see Materials, and I'm going to see a lot of these materials here, and then I will see Textures. Now these will have some different icons here, and maybe they won't have any. And it doesn't really usually matter. But what's happened here is that these are all the textures that I downloaded in that file, but they're saved in a different spot on my computer than they are on your computer, and so the Maya doesn't know how to load them up. So you just have to tell Maya where it is. So you could pick on just about any one of these and then go over here to where it says image name. And then what you're going to need to do is find this particular texture. And it's going to be in it's going to be in that folder that you downloaded. So if I go find that, and inside there I can see the mouse face rig textures, and I see all these textures in here, and I can see that I need to find, hold on just a second, let me move this over so it makes it very clear. You can see that you need to find this texture here, GeoAll version 15, and so I'm going to look at GeoAll version 15 106 and then met.png. So this is the right one, and when I load that, you can see it loads all of these different icons in and finds pretty much, oh, it says, oh, this is where all the textures are. And now, so I have a little bit of texturing, a little bit of the metallic feel on the collar, and I'm ready to kind of get going. And if I turn off the lights, you can see it a little bit more clearly how this works within the rig. Okay. Now I can save my file. If you save the Mouseface version 1 file on your computer right now, just go to save, then it will lock in where those textures are, and you should usually reload them when you open it again. So I could do that, but I'm going to immediately go and I'm going to save my scene as a I'm going to save my scene as my animation file. So in this case, I'm going to put it that same spot so I know where everything is. And instead of saying Mouseface version 1, I'm going to say good luck version 1. So now I have a completely new file, and I'm ready to go, except for the fact that I don't have any sound yet in my scene. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, is go find my .wav file. Now, your .wav file, if you needed me to convert it for you, is going to be in your week 6 folder. So go to your week 6 folder and download that .wav file. It'll look just like your audio file, except that the last thing that you might see it here, and it might see a couple of different things, but if you kind of hover over it, you'll see that it says .wav. Or if I go to properties, here I can see the type of file is a .wav. That's very important because it's the only kind of audio file that Maya is going to accept. So you want to make sure you find that, then download it and save it on your computer, because a lot of times students will say, oh, I'm just going to use the one that I uploaded, and that's the one that I converted, and that's not going to work. So once you know where that is, then go to File, Import, find the place that you put it. So again, I'm going to go back to this spot, and you can see here, goodluck.wav. I'm going to import that, and you'll see that it showed up here on the timeline. Good luck. Now, if my audio doesn't show up on my timeline, if I'm imported it in and all of a sudden it just seems to go blank, or there's just kind of a blank line here and I'm not hearing the audio, what I want to make sure I do is just select it. So I just right click on the timeline somewhere and go to sound and make sure I pick the audio file that I uploaded. And you'll see sometimes it will go to track sound, which we'll see this line here, but there will be no sound in like this. And then, but if I go here, I can also open the option box, and there's some different options I can do. I can offset it. So here, let me actually load it up. But if I want to offset it 10 frames, and move it 10 frames forward or 10 frames back, I can do that. So there's different things I can do there. So, and I can adjust my frames here.
Good luck.
Now, if I hit the play button, it sometimes will work and sometimes won't, which is unfortunate, but it's really not, because the way we're going to really be able to evaluate our animation the most effectively, especially with a complex rig like this, is to have a play blast. So if I go to my play blast, I don't have to check save to file until I'm ready to turn it in. So I'm just going to play blast here.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
And now you can see the model there, the rig, with my voice in it. And if I use my middle mouse button, or I just scroll back and forth, you can see that I can hear the individual pieces of the dialogue. Now, this is a very short piece of dialogue for the purposes of this video, for me to be able to try and do something very quickly. But this is really too short for your assignment. Your assignment should be somewhere between 4 and 5 seconds long. That seems to be a really good place to not have you drive yourself crazy trying to finish it, but also 22 frames is really not long enough for you to explore, even just 2 words like this, for you to explore the fun that you can have with LipSync. And so again, 4 to 5 seconds, usually 1 second, like a pun or a joke, or just a line from a movie that you think is really cool. So, okay, now I'm going to save again to make sure that I have my clean beginning animation file. But now I'm going to do something called versioning up. And I'm going to save my file as the same name, except I'm going to say version 2. Now this is something we do in the studios, and we'll do this a lot in order to save our work. So if something goes wrong with a Maya file and it corrupts and I can't open it again, well, if I've kept hitting the save button and that's all I hit is save, 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 well then my file is gone and I've lost all of my work. But if that happens with a file that I saved and versioned up maybe 2 hours ago, well then I can always go back to, say I'm on version 31, well I can go back to version 30 and I might have lost 2 hours worth of work, but I didn't lose everything. So this is a technique that I highly recommend. So every few hours or whenever you save another version and version up. Now when this happens, you'll get obviously a lot more files on your computer, and you can just manage them and clean them up. So, you know, once you get 3 or 4 files, you can start to delete the ones previous. But it's always kind of nice, again, to keep a beginning file so that you have a very clean version of your rig and your audio, so that it's easy to start over if you want to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a quick tour of the different controls, and you can explore these a little bit more in depth, but there's a lot of different controls here to work with, and they're kind of color-coded just to make it a little bit easier to work with. So you'll notice that all of the controls on the left are going to be, or on mouse's left, are going to be blue. So any controls that you see that are blue are going to be on the left, or control his left side. Any red controls that you see are going to control his right side. In the center you will see a couple of colors, yellow and green. Green is the only color for the jaw. So you can grab this jaw and open up the mouth. You can move it around. There are no limits. So again, you are in charge of making sure that it does not look broken. And then there's a control here for the collar. You can move the collar away if you don't like it. But the collar is always going to be connected. So if you're going to move it away to get it out of the way, then really move it out of the way, and then you can play around with the character. Now I'm going to keep it on there. The yellow controls are going to be controlling the base, the neck, and the head. So there's a control there that will control everything. And then there's a control inside here and here that will turn his neck in all different directions. And then this yellow ball on top will actually control his head. Now the yellow box here is going to control his eyes. Wherever this box is, as we move it around, his eyes will move to follow it. And we can do all sorts of crazy things with this. Again, it's up to the animator to make it look right. Usually I try to pick the left or the right and get it to where I want it. Then I can click on these spheres inside and I can reline it up. Now what these look like doesn't matter. We won't be showing those. So when we're animating the eyes, we want to make sure that we are mainly just concentrating on what the eyes themselves look like. And anytime I want to start over, I can always just go and put 0 into the channel box of the control, and that will usually bring me back to the position that I want. Now the difference is going to be with the neck and the head. The translate X control, you can see, has some controls or some values on that. So if you enter that in, it's going to kind of cement him down, kind of collapse him down in, which we don't want. Okay, and I'll try to lock those out before I send this up, so you shouldn't be able to move those anyway. But then you have these controls here that will move the different pieces of his tuft, and his ears can be animated, and his eyebrows. Now his eyebrows are very much like the snowman's face. These can move up and down, so if you want to do kind of that cartoony thing where the eyebrows kind of pop up in the air, then you certainly can. They will follow along with the head, so even if you move them off of the head, you can do that. And then these controls here will move the whiskers. So if you want to droop the whiskers a little bit or have some overlapping action on those, you can as well. So that brings us to this last control, which is probably the most important control. And this is what makes things quite a bit different in facial animation than in just animating a body. Because here we have a control that is going to, if we look over here in the channel box, you'll see we have a number of different options now. And these options are all tied to a kind of an invisible control, if you will, that's been hidden. But I can take these different, I'll say angry blink, and I can use my middle mouse button, and I can hold that down and scroll that closed. Now this is going to happen between 0 and 1, and that's going to change the face of the character. Now sometimes it's really hard to control because it's moving so fast. If that's happening, you can hit this little button right here until it is just got a little bit of the pie showing. That will make it a lot easier to control and move back and forth. And if I want to set keys on this, I can either hit S and it will set a key on every control like this, or I can right click, and you can't see it, it's off screen, but one of the very first options is going to be key selected, and you can just key these controls individually. If I don't want to and I want to get rid of those keys, I can either right click here in the timeline and go to delete, but that's going to delete a key for everything. Or I can go up to these individual controls and I can hit cut selected. When I do, it will delete the key. Okay, so now that is also going to give me, if I scroll down, different shapes for my mouth. This is going to be E. This is going to be a frown. And we'll have an M, a P or a B, an U shape, and a smile, a snarl. And this is one of those things you'll want to kind of go in and see what each of these controls can do. And you can do them either just one side of the control or the face or the other. So you can do it all at the same time, or you can do a little bit of one side that has a little bit more and get a little bit of an asymmetrical look like that. Okay. So now we're ready to do our animation. So when I do animation, and people do this all sorts of different ways, like if I scroll along the bottom of the timeline here, you can hear the individual frame and the mouth and the sound that's being made on that particular frame. And this is how we're going to sync up our animation to the sound. So what I usually do is write out on a piece of paper. So I get another piece of paper. I can do this digitally. I don't have to. I can just write this in a sketchbook. And I'll write out good luck. And I'll kind of just give it a little bit of space. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to listen to the frame or to the sound. So I hear good on about 8 or 9. Now, if given the choice, I'm always wanting to go with the earlier frame. It's easier to have the animation hit a little bit earlier than it is to have it a little later, and you get a better result that way. So the G's probably around frame 6 or 7. Put that frame 6, and let me find. And so this is going to be, L is going to be about frame 11, which means D is going to be about 9 or 10. I'm going to give it 10, and then luck is probably on frame 12. And then 18 gives us the K. So the first thing I'm going to do now is try to figure out, well, what kind of mouth shapes do I want? So I can hold up a mirror, I can look at myself in the mirror, and I could, kind of say good luck, see what that looks like. I can also go in and record myself with a webcam talking. So I have a little reference here that I'm going to open up, and I can see good luck. Now I also can do it from the side, because sometimes I only think, a lot of times we'll look at ourselves in a mirror and we'll see the front of our face and we'll only think up and down with our jaw. we won't necessarily think about the forward and back that happens. So in this case, and the temptation is to go in and just grab the jaw and go, good luck, like a puppet. But you can see in my video reference that I'm actually not opening, I'm opening my jaw to breathe, but my good, when I say good, I'm actually just having my lips go forward. My jaw doesn't open all that much. So for me, that means I'm going to have my jaw on good. I'm going to kind of have my teeth come together here. And then I'm going to go to good with an oo. And then the D will probably just happen with my tongue. Duh, duh, duh. Like I don't have to move my jaw at all to say duh. I can sort of do that with just my tongue, so I'll probably just have the oo kind of settle back just a little bit. And then same thing with the L. I can kind of just do that with my tongue as well. So the next real big mouth position I'm going to have is luck. And that is going to have my mouth open quite wide. And then close on the K of luck. So now I have kind of a roadmap of how to approach this. So I'm going to start by just kind of putting in those keys. So I'm going to be pretty sparse here with my keys. I mean, I'm going to let the character stay pretty stiff at first. I can add in some body movement later, but first off, I'm just going to worry about the lip sync. So the main controls that I want to deal with right now are going to be the jaw control and this facial control here. And so I'm going to, I know that I've got my keys on frame 6, frame 8, frame 10, frame 11 and 12. I'm not going to worry about getting, I don't want to get too close together with my keys. So I'm going to do frame 12 and then frame 18. So this will get me started, and I'm going to do frame 1 as well because I want a beginning position. So I'm going to start there with that beginning position, and I'm going to add in a bit of a smile. Scroll down here, and I'm going to make this go a little bit faster. And I might turn the jaw over just a little bit like this. Then on the next frame, sometimes it's easier to start from this beginning kind of frame that I've got, so I can copy and paste a key or a any frame over to another frame. And the way that I do this is I go to the frame I want to copy, and I select the controls I want to copy, and then I use my middle mouse button and I hold it down and then drag it over to frame 6 where I want to copy it, and then I hit S. Now when I hit S, you will see that not a ton happens. It did change and update, which was nice. Sometimes I have to go to a new frame, and that but the key will actually copy and paste over there. So Okay, so let's now, I want to put in my sort of my teeth. I want a little bit of a, show my teeth, so I'm going to put in a little bit of an E. And it's a real temptation to add in tons of these together. But you could see when you add in too many at the same time, you get kind of a strange look. So I caution you to not mix too many shapes together. You can usually mix the smile with a mouth shape, or a snarl with the mouth shape. But otherwise, you want to kind of just, if you want an ooh, then you should just have an ooh. If you want a little bit of an E, you should just have that E. So I'm going to pull that down, maybe open the jaw just ever so slightly. And I can flip back and forth between my different positions by using the comma key and the period key. Now, here I want my ooh shape. And this is one of the reasons I like to set keys early, because now I have everything back at 0. And I can just add in that ooh. And if I want to add in just a little bit of a smile, I can. And I'm going to start here with a copy and paste from this 8 to 10. So middle mouse drag, hit S. When I go back and forth, you can see I get this. So in this, where he's saying good, I'm going to pull back on that ooh a bit. I'm going to make this smile a little bigger and add in just a little bit of E. And then here, I'm going to really open up my jaw. And sometimes I could just translate it down. Sometimes that's okay too. And I'm going to add in just a little bit of smile. Now I can also scale my jaw a bit if I want to. And inside the jaw, you can see that I have my tongue. Now I haven't actually animated anything on my tongue yet, so let me grab all of those controls. And I can also move my teeth if I want to, which I usually don't need to move too often. I always want my keys, if I'm going to work on one control, I want my keys to always be on the same frame on all of these different controls. So here, I'm going to have my tongue kind of fade behind. And you can scale the tongue if you want, but let's go here. You can see the tongue is kind of falling behind. Now if it starts to be bothersome like this, that you are grabbing the pieces of the rig, you can go over here to the channel box and make this turn into R. When you do, it looks like it popped off the textures again. So sometimes, but now I can't grab any of the geometry. So that's okay. I'm going to go back in here and reload this. Again, sometimes that will need to happen, and when you do, it should all pop back in. So now a frame that's going to be two keys that are going to be in between over a long period of time, and I say a long period of time, 6 frames, which is, you know, a quarter of a second. But in the world of animation, that's a long period of time. I don't necessarily want to keep my let my computer just in between those in that much, because it's going to just kind of be floaty. So I'm going to put in another key in the middle here where I can have my tongue. I kind of have everything go back to 0. Again, I want to stay away from that translate X. And I don't want to rotate my teeth. I'm going to let my jaw hang down just a little bit longer. And here I'm going to come back into that kind of K, that K feel. So a little bit of an E, and then some smile, and I'll make it a little bit bigger on one side. So now on a K sound, the way we make a K sound is we actually open up our jaw a little bit. So I'm going to open up that jaw, and when I do, I'm going to make the smile come down just ever so slightly to react to that. And then I'm going to come back in to a closed jaw, and then maybe have just a little bit more smile as well here, and a little less E. So now, as I see this, I can hit the play button, but I can't hear anything. So I need to play blast, because that's going to be how I'm going to evaluate it. Hitting the play button may not give me a very accurate read or indication of what it's looking like speed anyway. So whenever I play blast, I'm going to go to show and turn off my NURBS curves. That way, that's going to turn off all my controllers. Frame it how I want, hit play blast.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
And so this gives me my lip sync. Now, I can add on all sorts of details at this point. At this point, I would want to save my file, and I would probably want to version up my file. So go over here and hit 3. Make sure I'm in the right spot, because sometimes it's going to send me back to a different place. So I'm going to go and make sure I'm in the same spot. So I've got that saved, and now I can do all sorts of things. I'm going to go show and turn on NURBS curves right here. That'll bring my controllers back. And I'm going to maybe have a little bit of a blink and a little bit of eye movement. So let me actually grab all 3 of these. And here I'm going to have him sort of look over. Kind of line those up. So at this point, I want to add in a blink, and I'm going to add in, I'll do a happy blink. So I'm going to just put in 1. I can always enter in values here, and that's going to be an easy way to maybe just go a little bit further. To add in some more interest, and I'm gonna key those. And then I can go in the graph editor and I can really individually look at all of these different things. So I've got happy blink here. I'm going to make this and then I can have in maybe a little bit of head movement. And now if I want to start in with all sorts of other things, the eyebrows, the ears, doing all sorts of different poses, I can. But this is an easy way to get started. And I'm going to add in just a little bit of a slow in here by making this just fade right up into the top, this curve right here, and all these curves down here. So now, again, I can turn off my controls, line this up the way that I want. I can even make sure I don't see his bottom of his body, so it just looks like he's standing there talking to me. And then I'm going to play blast.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
All right. So I can continue to refine. I can go in and add even more expression. I can add in some movement on the whiskers, and I would keep that movement pretty subtle. But it will give you a lot of opportunities to just continue to refine the animation. So hopefully that helps. And hopefully you're going to have a good time with the rig. If you have any questions, please let me know. But otherwise, good luck.